Blood runs thicker than loyalty, but in Chicago, even blood can turn cold. The sound of sirens fades under the roar of engines, and the night smells like gunpowder. Something big is coming, something that will change everything. Tommy Egan isn't just fighting for territory anymore. He's fighting to survive the storm he started. The streets of Chicago never forget. Every deal, every bullet, every betrayal, it all leaves a mark that time can't erase. The city looks quiet from a distance, but under its surface, the fire never went out. After the chaos of last season, the city has become a ticking bomb. Old enemies are rebuilding, and new ones are crawling out from the shadows. Everyone wants a piece of what Tommy built, but no one understands the cost he paid to build it. Tommy walks through the city like a ghost, the cold wind brushing against his face, carrying the whispers of those he's lost. He's seen too much blood spill on these streets to believe in peace. Every corner reminds him of the people he couldn't save, the partners who turned, the family he buried, and the dreams that burned away with every gunshot. Chicago gave him power, but it took his soul in return. The city is changing. Deals are breaking, alliances are cracking, and the hunger for control is back stronger than ever. Diamond's crew is trying to rebuild their empire, but even he knows peace is just the pause before another war. Claudia hides behind her charm, but her eyes tell a story of revenge, and revenge never sleeps. Every character is a fuse waiting to be lit, and Tommy is standing right in the middle of it all, holding the match. But this time, it's different. This time, Tommy's enemies aren't just gangsters or rivals, they're ghosts from his past, faces that know his weakness. They know his moves before he makes them. The city that once made him king now wants his crown drenched in blood. He's been cornered before, but this war feels personal. It's not just about who runs the game, it's about who survives it. The streets whisper his name like a warning. Tommy's back. But so is death. Every move he makes now will decide who lives and who disappears in the shadows. The storm is building, and every raindrop feels like a drop of blood waiting to fall. The city lights flicker, and for a second, it's hard to tell if it's lightning or gunfire. The night is heavier now. It feels like the whole city is holding its breath, waiting for something terrible to happen. The streets are quieter than usual, but the silence doesn't bring peace, it brings tension. Every dark alley, every parked car, every shadow hides a secret. Chicago has always been a city built on power and fear, but lately, it feels like fear is winning. Tommy knows it. He can feel the change in the air the same way an animal smells a storm before it breaks. The people who used to respect him now look at him differently. Some with fear, others with hunger. In this city, loyalty is temporary, and everyone's just waiting for a reason to switch sides. He walks through his own neighborhood like a stranger, the smell of smoke and betrayal hanging in the air. The rules he once wrote no longer apply. The streets have learned new ones, bloodier ones. Diamond's crew is making silent moves, playing both sides of the board. He says he wants peace, but peace is just a word men use when they're tired of losing. Behind his calm eyes, there's calculation. He knows Tommy is the key to power, but also the spark that could burn it all down. And Claudia, she's not done. Not by a long shot. Her revenge is quiet, patient, and dangerous. She's waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and when she does, she won't miss. Meanwhile, whispers start spreading across the blocks. A new player has entered the game, someone smart, ruthless, and unpredictable. No one knows his name yet, but his message is clear. Take down Tommy Egan, and Chicago is yours. Guns start moving through the city like water, and money starts flowing again. Every gang, every hustler, every killer smells opportunity. The balance of power is breaking, and the war everyone feared is now unavoidable. Tommy stands in front of the mirror, staring at his own reflection. The scars on his face tell a story no one else can read. He's lost friends, family, and love, but the one thing he's never lost is control. Until now. He lights a cigarette, the smoke curling around his thoughts like ghosts from his past. He remembers the faces of those who stood beside him and the ones who turned their backs. Every one of them has a reason to come for him. Every one of them wants something he has: power, respect, revenge. The nights grow longer, the days colder. Cops are back on the streets, but they're not looking for justice, they're looking for a cut. Even the law has a price now. The city bleeds quietly, and no one dares to stop it. The news doesn't talk about the war coming, but everyone can feel it. It's in the way people drive faster at night, the way neighbors stop talking, the way every phone call feels like it could be the last. Tommy isn't scared of war, he's scared of what it will turn him into. He's already seen what happens when you fight for too long. You stop fighting for power and start fighting just to feel alive. But deep down, he knows there's no way out now. The streets have chosen him, and Chicago doesn't let go of its kings easily. He stands on a rooftop looking down at the city lights. From up here, everything looks peaceful. But he knows better. Each light hides a story, a lie, a body. Somewhere out there, someone is planning his end. But Tommy smiles just slightly because he's planning to. And when the war comes, he won't just defend, he'll destroy. The storm isn't coming anymore. It's already here. The only question left is who will still be standing when it's over. The first gunshot breaks the silence like glass shattering in a church. It's not just a sound, it's a signal. Every corner of Chicago feels it, like a pulse running through its veins. The war has begun. No more waiting, no more whispers. The time for quiet plans and secret meetings is over. Now the streets speak in bullets. Tommy knew this day would come. He could feel it building for weeks: the tension, the unease, the strange disappearances. But even he didn't expect it to explode this fast. The first hit happens at night, a warehouse burned to the ground, bodies left behind like a message. Nobody claims it, but everyone knows who it's for. Tommy doesn't flinch. He's been here before. He knows what it means when people stop talking and start shooting. By morning, the city is bleeding. Corners once controlled by old crews now run red. Diamond's men are hit next clean, organized attacks. No mistakes, no witnesses. He blames Tommy, but Tommy knows better. Someone's playing both sides, feeding the fire and watching from the smoke. Old alliances crumble in hours, and the streets divide faster than ever. Every man for himself. Every bullet for survival. Tommy rides through the chaos, eyes sharp, heart steady. The city looks different now, cold, hollow, alive with danger. Fire escapes glow in the dark like veins of molten steel, and the sound of tires screeching blends with distant screams. Every sound feels like a warning. Every silence feels like a trap. His phone won't stop ringing, messages from old contacts, some offering help, most demanding answers. But Tommy doesn't trust anyone anymore. Not after what's been taken from him. Rumors spread faster than truth. They say Tommy's gone rogue, that he's turned on his own people. Others say he's teaming up with outsiders to take back the city. Every story makes him more dangerous. And in Chicago, danger is power. The name Egan becomes a ghost story spoken in bars, whispered in corners. Some fear it, some chase it, but everyone remembers it. And Tommy, he lets the myth grow. Because in war, fear is the strongest weapon. The streets are a chessboard now, and every move counts. Claudia makes her move first, small, sharp, surgical. She hits Tommy's suppliers, cutting off his flow. Diamond strikes next, taking out one of Claudia's lieutenants in broad daylight. The news calls it gang violence, but this is no gang war. This is a reckoning. Everyone's fighting for a future that might not even exist, but Tommy plays a different game. While they destroy each other in the open, he moves in the dark. He knows the city's heartbeat better than anyone. He uses the chaos as cover, watching, waiting, planning. Every night, he walks through the ruins of his empire, not as a victim, but as a soldier preparing for the final strike. He knows patience is power. He's seen too many kings die because they moved too soon. Then it happens, a betrayal so close, it cuts deeper than any bullet. A friend, someone Tommy trusted like family, switches sides. For money, for power, maybe just for survival. When Tommy finds out, he doesn't yell. He doesn't curse. He just stares at the floor for a long moment, silent. Then he says 4 words. It ends tonight. The night of blood begins. Rain falls hard, mixing with the red on the pavement. The city that once belonged to him now burns around him. He moves through it like a ghost fast, quiet, deadly. Every shot he fires has purpose. Every name he erases is one less snake left to bite. This isn't about territory anymore. It's about revenge, about balance, about survival. By dawn, the city is quiet again. Smoke hangs low over the skyline. The streets are empty, but the air still hums with violence. No one knows who won because in this kind of war, there are no winners, just survivors. And somewhere deep in the shadows, Tommy stands alone, his eyes cold, his hands shaking slightly, not from fear, but from exhaustion. He looks out at the sunrise bleeding through the clouds and whispers to himself, "You wanted war. Now live with it. Chicago doesn't sleep anymore." The bloodbath has only begun. Morning comes slow. The sky is the color of ash, and the city looks like it's been through hell. The war has ended, at least that's what people are saying, but in Chicago, peace is just another lie waiting to be broken. The streets are quieter now, but it's not calm. It's the kind of silence that follows destruction, the kind that tastes like gunpowder and grief, the kind that tells you the story isn't over yet. Tommy stands at the edge of a burned-out block, the smell of gasoline thick in the air. The buildings around him are scarred, windows shattered, walls blackened. This was his empire, once a network of money, power, and loyalty. Now it's rubble and ghosts. The city took everything from him again, and he let it. Not because he lost control, but because he knew control was just an illusion. In this game, everyone bleeds eventually. He watches a stray dog move through the ruins, sniffing at the ground where men once stood tall. It reminds him of himself searching for something worth saving in a world built on betrayal. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. His silence says everything. Behind his eyes, the memories play like old film faces he trusted, voices he'll never hear again, promises that turned into gunfire. He can still feel the heat of that last night, the echo of every shot that ended a friendship, every scream that came from someone he once called family. The news says it was a gang war, but that's too easy. It wasn't about drugs or money. It was about pride, loyalty, and revenge. Things that can't be measured in dollars or bullets. The police come by, pretending to care, pretending to investigate. They ask questions, but Tommy knows they don't want answers. They just want the war quiet enough for the city to breathe again. But the truth is, the city will never breathe clean. Not as long as people like him are still standing. Tommy walks past the yellow tape, ignoring the looks. He's untouchable now, not because he's invincible, but because he's empty. When a man loses everything, fear loses its power. He moves like someone who's already made peace with death. But deep down, something still burns. A small flame that refuses to die. Maybe it's revenge. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's just the hunger to feel alive one more time. Diamond's crew is gone, what's left of them scattered or buried. Claudia disappeared into the wind, leaving only rumors behind. Some say she's dead. Others say she's rebuilding somewhere new. Tommy doesn't care. Everyone who mattered is either gone or broken. He lights a cigarette and watches the smoke twist upward, fading into the gray sky. For the first time in a long time, there's no plan, no strategy, no deal waiting to be made. Just silence, but silence is dangerous. It leaves too much space for thoughts. Tommy starts to wonder what it all meant to power, the war, the blood. Was it worth it? Did he win anything, or did he just lose slower than the rest? He thinks of his brother, his mother, the ghosts of everyone who tried to change him. They were right, this life only ends one way. But maybe, just maybe, he can find a way to end it on his own terms. As the day fades, he walks down the middle of the street, hands in his pockets, eyes straight ahead. The sun sets behind him, turning the sky red again, like the city's bleeding one last time. Every step he takes sounds heavier, like the earth is remembering his weight. People watch from behind windows, whispering his name, afraid to say it too loud. To them, he's not just a man anymore, he's a legend, a warning, a ghost in the shape of power. He reaches the car, opens the door, and stops for a moment. The city hums quietly around him. Somewhere far off, sirens wail again, a reminder that the cycle never ends. He smirks not because he finds it funny, but because he finally understands. Chicago doesn't change for anyone. It just waits for the next king to bleed. As he drives off, his voice echoes in his mind like a confession. There's no peace in this life, only choices. And every choice costs blood. The camera pans up, showing the skyline burning softly in the evening glow. The war is over. But the story isn't. The city still belongs to those brave or broken enough to claim it. And somewhere in that endless maze of streets, Tommy Egan is already writing his next chapter. Because in this world, power never dies. It just changes hands.